So I've cut the piece out of the wheel arch tub. So here it is. So it's as you can see where it's rotted through and it's not in the greatest condition. So with a combination of template and hammering and welding, we'll be able to do that. So I will recreate this flange here by welding a piece in there. But this, I think I can probably form. So I'm going to have a go at forming that. Right, so just moving on with fabrication of this part here. So I've decided to cut it in certain places to allow it to do the bend that we require. I haven't put this flange on because I'm going to trim that to there. So you see I've trimmed that there like that, so that will allow me to bend it round. I can trim that to size and then weld it up. Yeah, so I will now weld that up. I'll ground that a bit more rounded, bash it around a bit more, weld up the strips. Probably use a bit of fill rod in there. That will just weld up. And then I'll put this flange on here as well. I finished up fabricating that part for the lower part of the wheel tub. So you can see that's what was there, which is all rotten and knackered. And now I've fabricated this part here, which is fits in there nicely. I'm not going to put that in yet though. I'm going to save putting that in, because I'm going to try and fix what's going on around here. I'll get a bit more light on that. So I do believe I might need a bit more. I might need to replace this part here. Seems fine on the other side. And then this is all got to come out as well. This is the sill. And I've been pulling all this out here. Look at the mess on the floor there. This is everything that's dropped out. So it's obviously really quite rotten in there, so which is a bit of a surprise to me, because I thought it was going to be, but I just didn't think it was going to be as bad as all this. So it makes you realise that it might look not too bad. I think this particular bus has had some cover-up paint done on it when it's come over from California. Apparently before it just came over it was painted. And you can see here that that's all been dented in there, and in here as well, and there's loads of body filler in there. So I think this was already pretty rotten, so it's all going to come out anyway, and I'll find out what's going on with it. And then when I put the new sill in on the inside, so I'll carry on drilling out spot weld and put this on time lapse. I didn't sort of record what was going on here because I was just investigating, but I was quite surprised by what I was finding. I couldn't quite believe it's that bad, but it is. It's far worse than I ever thought. It's all from a level. Everything's fine up above this sort of level. It's just what's down here seems quite bad. My only issue is with the removing, is that with the floor and on the inside, then starts to become a bit of an issue between how the two work. See here where it's all spot welded above. These need replacing. I've got replacements for these, just for the ends really. Is the fine further along. So I'll replace that. I'll replace this one as well. But you can see how bad this is. It's got holes in it. It's not good. But it's quite a lot to get it out. Got to separate it from the floor. Got to separate it from these. And then also got to get it out. There's the flange over the end there. There's quite a lot of how to separate it going on. And then if we look further along the other way, I've got everything that goes all the way down there as well. I'm probably going to need replacement jacking point over there. Let's try and get the camera orientated better for you guys. Yeah, it looks like it's not too bad because I undercoated it many years ago, but it is. So the jacking point's missing there, but I've got a new jacking point for there. Big job. Especially if you're not taking the floor out. I really don't want to take the floor out because the floor's in such good condition, except for this part here where it joins to the sill. So I'm hoping, I really am hoping to leave the floor in. It's just that separating it from the sill, from the underside. I'll try drilling it out. I've just got a lot of drilling to do, so I need to crack on. So you can see here that I'm drilling out the spot welds. I soon become aware that this isn't really necessary, and I decide to just get the angle grinder out and I cut the actual sill away with several cuts, and then that gives me access. Because who on earth wants to drill spot welds when you can just use an angle grinder instead? Just cut this piece out where the sill goes. Look at this is a bit of a mess. Never expected this to be this bad. So here you go as we really run along where the sill goes. It's got a load of just sand dust in there or something. And then as you go along you can see it's all a bit rotten at the bottom of that B pillar there, so I'm going to have to cut that out. I do have a piece of that, but not all of it, so I'm going to have to fabricate some of it. So, not an ideal situation. And then if you look down here, there's all the stuff that's come out. And then also the piece I've cut off, which is a bit of a mess. Would you look at that? So it looks good on the outside, but you can see it's rotted through in places. And if I'd left that, this is just rotted through in no time. This is what, because it has been oversprayed in California. I think basically back in the early noughties, that's what happened to the bus. It got oversprayed. It'd been a bit bodged. This was probably in this condition then. But also, it's very damp in this country, so all this sand and dust that's in there, it basically would have absorbed moisture, and then you're into the situation of... So I'm going to cut all this out. I've got the replacement parts, except for here, around this B, well, it's not a B pillar, is it? It's a C pillar piece. I've got the outer part of it, but not the inner, so I'll have to create the inner part myself. Hi there. So I've been carrying on with removing the sill down this left hand side, and as you can see here I've stripped some of it back, but it's difficult to remove because obviously it's spot welded in, and so I've been stripping it out where I can cut it out easily, and I'm just going to have to go through and remove those spot welds, take it out. Everything's all a bit rotten all the way along here. That's all coming out. Got all the parts for that now. And then I get to this part here, around here, and it's not so easy in here. So I've been stripping out here. I'm doing a bit of repair work down there. I need to put a plate in here where this actual piece here would sort of rotted away. So I'm going to replace that. This piece here, I have this piece somewhere. I have that piece there. It goes in there like that. But to be able to put that piece in, I've first of all got to remove this whole outer wheel arch. But as you can see here, this is rotted away anyway. It's probably completely and utterly full up with stuff. It's a bit rotten on the step as well. Not much, gone there. So I've been preparing by taking out all the, still had all the weld seam sealers still in place on this bus. So I've been removing all of that, which then exposes a bit more rust in places. Remove the weld seam sealer that was here. Of undoing all these spot welds just here. And then disconnecting all this front, so this is all gonna come out. I have to take all these spot welds out here. Probably just cut it and then take the spot welds out afterwards, a bit like I've been doing with the sill. Connected here, and this tucks underneath here for a bit, which I've only just realised. You have all of this part here, so that's the long piece there. Then you can see where it tucks under. So having this here in my hands is very helpful because it makes me realise where I need to pick it to pieces and how big it is as well. I've started to remove what's going on there, but this piece tucks under there quite a way. If you look at this part here, you can see that tucks under there, probably to about there. So I just need to start cutting this out, because the other thing is with this, I just am not in a position to be able to replace anything along here yet, sill wise, until I've unpicked all of this as well. And these all overlap each other because I actually have. And then this is all knitted in around here. So I'll start taking this out to be replaced with this. But as I start to take this out and cut, you know, these parts here to free this off, and then grind them back to expose where they spot weld in, it'll all become more clear. And then you see there where that's corroded there, so I might have to acquire this part of the step and just replace it. Oh no, I don't here because it comes with it, doesn't it? Sometimes I forget these things, so I have to part this there. This weld here's got to go. Got to grind that out, try and part all this away from itself, and parts down there, as you can see there. Then that is that piece there. Yeah, just got to try and part all this carefully away so that I can eventually slot that in. And then that straight bit there must just tuck under there. Hello there, I suppose I should make an apology for not really putting any footage out recently. Had a very busy summer, been away on a walk-in holiday in June, and then we did a bit of interrailing around Northern Europe and Scandinavia in July, and had a great time with my family. I also had an issue then with my Toyota Arrrrgggghhh small car I use for running around in, where it had some issues with the front subframe and I had to replace that. So that took me quite a long time with waiting for parts and doing the actual work itself. So that consequently led to me not doing so much work on the bus, but now I'm back on it. I will be putting out as much footage as I possibly can. So I hope you enjoy, and follow and subscribe. I've cut away that wheel arch now. I haven't cut away the parts where it's spot welded in. I've just cut around it, and I'm going to take them back by a bit of grinding and drilling and so on. So I'll get rid of those. You can see there, that's a spot weld strip. So I'll grind that out. But you can see here that it's all rotten in here. So the water from the wheel arches, it's probably just got down the back and it just gathers there and sits and it's rotted it out. So this will be cutting out because I've got these parts here. I can swap them in. So I'll just have to take out the spot welds, grind them back, and have a grind them or drill them, one or the other. Get these parts out and then take this capping piece off and then start to cut this out so that I can swap that out. And also the B-pillar part inside, I'll have to start taking the paint off on the inside and have a look at getting all that covered in there as well. I do waffle along a bit here, apologies for that. But anyway, I'm just showing you that I've cut off the wheel arch to the point where I left the spot welded part in there, and I've just got to grind them out and remove them. Also the bottom of the step just there, that needs carving out as well and still removing. And then there's still a part in of the spot welded flange there I need to grind out and remove. It's quite hard work grinding out the flanges with spot welds on, so we'll see how much drilling and grinding we have to do. But anyway, it's goodbye for now, and see you next time.